Hello and welcome to another week's analysis behind the news. Since last week, we found out more about the Milwaukee anti-police protests that were sparked when a black police officer shot and killed a black suspect who was pointing a handgun at him. Now, when you watch some of the raw video footage shot during the buildup of the protest, you'll hear protesters spreading lies and rumors regarding the facts of the situation. The main rumor that went around was that the suspect had been shot in the back 3 times. Yet he was actually shot twice in the front, one in his chest and once in his arm. Did these protesters deliberately do this to incite a riot? And did they know that it was a black police officer who did the shooting? Video taken during the riots might prove that they didn't, as some blacks were specifically targeting whites. And at least one black protester was trying to persuade a large group to not be afraid to die at the hands of police. Milwaukee Police Chief Flynn was quoted in a Chicago Tribune article as saying, "The Revolutionary Communist Party of Chicago showed up, and actually they're the ones who started to cause problems heading into Sunday evening by marching and trying to take over the intersection of Sherman and Burleigh," Flynn said. "That was about 11:30 at night. We made it to 11:30 in the evening and we had these characters show up." Self-proclaimed members of the party led a march late Sunday to the city's then barricaded District 7 police station, the article continues. Though the demonstration was mostly calm at first, chaos erupted when the primarily young crowd passed officers at the charred remnants of a BP gas station that was torched in Saturday's riots. Bottles and rocks were flung at officers, and Flynn said they were also targeted by protesters who fired weapons. Well, doesn't this help answer the question, well, why would anyone destroy their own neighborhood? Out-of-town communists showed up and incited a riot. At that point, a black Milwaukee resident, Mark Hale, was quoted in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel as saying the fires that were started were due to a lot of idiots who didn't have jobs and didn't want to have jobs. And Milwaukee resident Quinlan Bishop was interviewed by Fox 6 News. Now, this young black gentleman had this to say about the riots. "We have choices," he said, "and we're making the wrong ones. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3 bus shelters crashed down on their sides. I'm looking at glass everywhere where I'm sure kids actually play, where I'm sure people have to cut the grass tomorrow morning. I'm looking at a gas station that's completely burned down that people used to go get gas from, and everything else they used to go get. That's not the right choice. This will not get anything done. How do you expect to get ahead after you've done here, or after what you've done here today?" Sounds like a pretty smart gentleman to me. And as Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark put it, the law of the jungle replaced the law or the rule of law. And this is exactly the mode of operation for all of these anti-police protests, and has been since at least the 1960s. And it's exactly why the John Birch Society created the Support Your Local Police and Keep Them Independent Action Project. To learn more, go to jbs.org and click on Action Projects. Now, civil rights leaders will have you believe that these uprisings are spontaneous and that people are just mad. But yet, someone is feeding false information to local residents and encouraging them to gather and protest. And where do these activists get the resources to drive the discussion on social media? We have been told by IT professionals that Black Lives Matter is spending about $175,000 per day promoting their cause just on social media alone. Does this sound like spontaneous action to you? Where is this money coming from? Who is receiving it, and who decides what to do with it? We already know that many of these organizations get money from George Soros' foundation, and that a recently hacked Soros memo has shown that Soros gave $650,000 to Black Lives Matter in order to capitalize on an unique opportunity to create accountability for the Baltimore police while aiding activists in reforming the city, according to Aaron Klein's article on Breitbart.com. And the Washington Times claims that BLM, Black Lives Matter, is cashing in to the tune of $100 million from liberal foundations, in addition to a whopping $33 million from George Soros' Open Society Foundation. The article writes, Bill Johnson, executive director of the National Association of Police Organizations said corporations and others may want to think twice about partnering with the Ford Foundation, the fifth largest U.S. philanthropy with $12.4 billion in assets. The Ford Foundation had traditionally been leftist, at least since the 1970s, on law enforcement matters, it says. So it's not a huge surprise, but it's certainly disappointing, said Mr. Johnson. I guess potential donors may want to look at the Black Lives Matter movement and see the damage, destruction, and murders they have left in their wake. And to top it off, the mainstream media has yet to see a riot it couldn't use for furthering its agenda of stoking the fires of civil unrest. CNN showed an edited clip of a statement that the shooting victim's sister gave, which made it appear that she was trying to get the violence to stop. In reality, she was telling them to stop the violence in the inner city and to take it to the suburbs and burn it down. CNN has since apologized for doing this. But isn't it interesting that this has been ramped up now in a presidential election year? So who can you trust to give you the solid information that every freedom-loving American needs in order to be knowledgeable and to make informed decisions? The John Birch Society, of course. Our news magazine, The New American, publishes hard-hitting online news every day for free. Plus, we also publish exclusive content in a print magazine twice a month for about the same cost that it takes for you to fill up at a gas station, maybe even a couple of times. So head over to thenewamerican.com to see the free content, then subscribe to the free daily email, and finally, purchase a subscription. You won't find this type of information anywhere else. And if you like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channels and social media pages. Until next week, we'll see you then.